The top of the show, we talked about the boycott of Target. That nationally there was conversation, and today an announcement that said the boycott was done. But locally, activists, including Nekima Levy Armstrong and Jaylani Hussein, had a news conference just within the last hour where they said it most certainly is not over. And joining us now on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline is Nekima Levy Armstrong and Jaylani Hussein. Nekima and Jaylani, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Nekima, why don't we start with you? What was your reaction when you saw that news alert that the national, some of the people on the national level who have been talking about the boycott and have been talking to Target CEOs said they were going to call a win. They were going to say they got progress, they hurt Target, and they were calling it over?
Well, I don't know if they've lost their minds or what, but they know that even though we're here locally, we are the leaders of the national Target boycott. We launched the boycott on February 1st of 2025, and from the beginning, we said that the Target boycott was indefinite unless and until they reverse their decision to roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because as we all know, in January of 2025, Target was one of the first companies in the nation to capitulate to Donald Trump by announcing their decision to roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as everyone knows, Target is also headquartered here in Minneapolis. So it only made sense for boots on the ground, grassroots Minneapolis organizers to call for a nationwide boycott of Target. As a matter of fact, after George Floyd was killed, Target had shown excellent leadership by announcing their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know, they said that they were pledging $2.1 billion towards improving the Black customer shopping experience, increasing their diversity and equity in terms of hiring and promotions, also bringing more black brands onto the shelves and increasing their supplier diversity network. And so they put forward a series of promises to the community in 2021 in honor of our fight for justice for George Floyd. And so the folks nationally who pretended that the boycott is over have actually been working throughout the year to try to co-opt our work as national boycott leaders. And Jamal Bryant, who has been quoted in a number of articles, he is a so-called pastor from Atlanta. He was one of the people who actually reached out to me after we launched the boycott, saying they wanted to support our efforts nationally. And then the next thing you know, he's announcing a 40-day fast for the faith community to abstain, from shopping at Target beginning in March of 2025. And I said to him, what is the difference between a fast and a boycott? And why is it 40 days? And what are you going to do when the 40 days ends? Because our boycott is indefinite. And he didn't have a response to that, but his response was to hire a publicist to go on CNN and a couple of other shows and basically proclaim that he was the leader of the Target boycott. So that's what we're dealing with here. People who are not connected to our community, who don't have any leadership authority in our community, who did not call for the boycott, but who are trying to co-opt our work, and now who've sold out to Target by claiming the boycott is over when it is very much still alive, still having an impact, and continuing indefinitely.
Do you agree with the assertion from Jamal Bryant that, victory was achieved? His quote is, "We've got to celebrate small steps." The Target said they're happy to move forward. Target said they will fulfill that $2 billion commitment, that investment in Black-owned businesses. They said they would finish that this year. Do you agree with his assertion that the boycott got progress and it's enough?
No. Number one, yes, progress has been made, but neither Jamal Bryant nor Target decides when the boycott is over. we the people decide when the boycott is over. And the main demand that we made has not been met.
Why do the local, I mean, I understand that Target is here in the community and you guys made the first call for the boycott, but why do you think that you guys should have the say as to whether this is over or not?
Because we call the boycott, and we are the ones who put in the blood, sweat, and tears fighting for our community. How dare someone now who doesn't live in this state, who has nothing to do with our calling of the boycott, try to take over, especially as a male pastor, trying to erase Black women's leadership, which two of us as the original founders of the boycott are Black women, myself and Monique Colors Doty. And then, of course, there's Jaylani Hussein, who is the third co-founder. So who made Jamal Bryant the person who has the authority to call the boycott when he has nothing to do with it? He co-opted our work. Like, that's not the right question to be asking. The question should be, how dare he try to announce an end to a boycott he didn't start and that he worked to co-opt? We are very much the people who should have a right to call for an end to the boycott, and that is based on our work here in the community with the people. I went to the people on Facebook after Target made the decision that they were going to roll back DEI, and I had a Facebook conversation with people. What do you guys think about this? What should we do? And there was a woman in my comments, a Black woman named Leslie Taylor, who said, we should do a blackout of Target. And I said, I think that's a great idea, but we will turn it into a boycott. And the people in the comments agreed, said they were cutting up their red cards. And then we went from there and putting the press conference together. And it was a nationally covered press conference calling for a nationwide boycott of Target. And we already had started to see results before Jamal Bryant announced a 40-day fast. That makes no sense. That shows you he's not a real organizer. Who calls for a 40-day fast of a company and you're expecting accountability?
Jaylani Hussein is with us as well.
Yep.
Jaylani, did these national folks, did they talk to you guys at all before saying that they were going to call it off?
No. They have not been talking to us, and they've also done the same bamboozle to even Reverend the great Reverend Al Sharpton, who told us that he was also pulled into a meeting without really knowing what happened. He apologized to us and the leaders here. I think 2 points that I want to clarify. Number one, Target already said that they have not made a single concession. So they're not making any concessions. They're not rolling back DEI. That's first. The second thing is the timing of this announcement. This came pretty much the same week of Target announcing that their fourth quarter numbers from last year were sluggish. In fact, one of the worst in all of their industries. Target boycott is effective. In fact, Target now has acknowledged that the boycott is the direct result of their slump in sales. And so this is a moment where for folks who have been boycotting, it is good news because Target is accepting and acknowledging, perhaps for the first time, that the boycott is working. The Atlanta.
What does this do to kind of go back and forth and say, like, well, on the national level, they're saying we made progress. Target is saying, yes, it hurt us. We hear it. We're going to fulfill this commitment we made. There's a new CEO. What does it say about this whole thing to have this sort of dispute playing out between the local leaders and then whoever these national folks are?
Well, first of all, there is really no two groups. There's only one group that started this boycott. Another group jumped on, made a fast, and then disappeared, to be honest with you, to the most extent. While we have had multiple opportunities to engage Target, we have held many protests and marches. We have talked about this issue publicly, persistently, not just through 2 or 3 press conferences. That's number one. The second thing is we saw Target do something incredible. They used their parking lots as pretty much hunting grounds for ICE, including targeting their employees. Bavino was walking around Target as if he owns it. And so ICE Operation Metro Surge actually became also an epicenter for Target parking lot and Target stores. And so even more people joined the boycott, and more people started to show and see how horrible Target's behavior is. I think we are at a moment, historical moment, and the national leaders of this boycott are right here in Minnesota. So I think there's no other national leaders that we know of at this moment who started this boycott and has been consistent about those demands. The reason why they're not meeting with us is because we made it very clear what those demands are.
Nekima, do you worry that by protesting and by continuing this boycott, that you're actually hurting local people who work for Target, the local economy? It's a big employer here in our community. How do you weigh that?
You know who should be worried about that? Target and Donald Trump. It's not our responsibility to be focused on the consequences of what a hometown company does when they align itself with an authoritarian and fascist government. That is squarely on their shoulders as a company. And if they made a mistake, which we know they did, by aligning with Donald Trump, by rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion, they can correct that mistake by reversing the decision. That is on them. That's not on us, right? The reality is that Target needs to be held accountable. Even the daughters of the founder weighed in the Los Angeles Times by writing an op-ed saying that Target's actions are not aligned with their values or their father's values as a company. So we're not alone in saying that what Target did was absolutely disgusting and outrageous, and they don't get a pass simply because they have employees. We stand with those employees. We want those employees to be treated fairly and to be compensated fairly. At the same time, this lies squarely on Target's shoulders to correct. And also, it's important to understand that Target intentionally went around the local Black grassroots leaders here who launched this boycott to meet with 2 Black ministers outside of the state. And as Jaylani said, one was Reverend Al Sharpton, who we talked to several weeks ago, and he apologized to us for getting involved and accepting a meeting with Brian Cornell.
Have you talked at all to the new guy,
Jamal Bryant,
to Michael Fidelke, the new CEO? Have you talked with him at all?
We have not talked to him. He knows how to find us if he wants to talk to us, but he also knows that the starting point for any discussion with us is them making a decision to reverse the horrible decision they made when they rolled back diversity, equity, and inclusion. Outside of that, we have no reason to entertain Michael Fidelke. That's why he went to a sellout, Jamal Bryant, to try to get this boycott to end when the demands have not been met. This is a clout chase at the end of the day for these people. But for us, as people who genuinely care about this community, people who have a track record of standing up and fighting for this community, this boycott means something. This is one of the most, if not the most effective economic boycotts in modern American history. That fact cannot be overlooked. They did not think it was going to work. The media tried everything as Target's numbers were falling, except for being honest about the impact of the boycott.
Yeah.
Well, we knew from the beginning that the boycott was effective.
Yeah, I think there's no question that it's been effective. I do think, though, that this debacle today, if you're a person looking for leadership as to, all right, what should we do, or what should the process, you sort of look at this and you're like, what is the clown show going on here? We got this national thing coming on. I got an alert.
It's not us, Jason.
Yeah.
You've never seen us involved in a clown show. You've seen us standing on business when we called out police accountability years ago when people didn't want to listen. You see that we were right about that. And all of the other civil rights issues that we have consistently raised. So this isn't our clown show. This is Jamal Bryant and Target's clown show. How do you have leaders in your own backyard that you overlook, and you go find a pastor who doesn't have a track record of standing up with, for, or on behalf of this community, and get them to announce an end to the boycott? That's the clown show. If people are looking for leadership, they know exactly where to find us, the people who actually have a track record of standing on business and being effective at what we do.
Appreciate you guys taking the time. Really good explanation. Nekima, Levy, Armstrong, and Jaylani Hussein, who have been leading this effort locally. Thank you both.
Thank you, Jason.